Welcome to Rising Goddess Radio. I'm your hostess, Michelle Torrance. I created Rising Goddess Radio to be a space where we dive deep into our spiritual, emotional, and physical bodies. We're getting real and connecting with ourselves in the most intimate ways. We'll be talking all things sacred sexual, relationship building, and womb healing. We'll be learning how to connect with our bodies through learning the language it speaks, how to use our sexual and sensual energies to create, manifest, and heal our lives. This show is about healing the chaotic feminine and toxic masculine within to create a world that responds to the divine and healthy energy you chose to tune in, tap in, and turn on. We will learn from amazing humans who take time and share their wisdom and sacred healing magic, rising humans who are here in this world to be healers, teachers, guides, priestesses, warriors, and shamans. All divine sisters and brothers in rising. We'll get witchy, sassy, sexy, and saucy. We're going to talk all things that align us with our true nature and authentic selves and create a community that expands with the ascension and growth of each of us. So grab some green juice, light some cannabis, get your blankets, or sit by the pool because we are about to rise up another level together. Catch you on the inside, dolls. Hello, my beautiful rising humans, and welcome to this next episode of Rising Goddess Radio. This episode is a solo cast, and I am here to talk about the breakthrough, level up, expansion, conviction, and purpose of the Rising Goddess movement. And I'm excited to share this with you. I have been going through quite a lot of shifts and growth, and not just me. Sean and I have been going through quite a lot of growth and expansion and very quick, rapid ascension. We're making quantum leaps within our growth and healing. And so the more healing and growth and expansion that we have, the deeper the healing happens when we go into growth cycles. So we know going into the waning moon, right? We just left the new moon. We're expanding now back into the full moon. We're in a waxing moon. We're in Crescent Gemini right now today. I'm going to be dropping this episode today. So it is today. Make sure you check my stories. Follow me on Instagram at @TheRisingGoddess_. That is at @TheRisingGoddess_. But anyways, I am here. I've recently just launched the Rise of the Magdalenes, a empowered sexual magic. It's a 5-week online retreat and master circle for women. And this is something that has been in the making for a couple of years. This is really the breakdown, how I have gone through and really shifted and ascended into the purpose of my being and really awakened to my spiritual alignment, tapping into sexual magic and really understanding how I can create a magical, mystical world without conditioned fears and beliefs and programming that have been indoctrinated into my system. This is ways on how to really energetically transmute that shame in all areas regarding our sexual energy, creative life force, desires, love, whatever that may be. And so this course is launched. This is, I don't like calling it a course. It's not really a course. It's really a master circle. I call it an online retreat because that's what we're doing. We're retreating from the bullshit of the conditioned beliefs, so that way we can actually connect with other women in a circle, a equal level circle, and be able to support and hold women together and go through this healing, not only breaking through and healing the mother wound and the witch wound within ourselves, but ultimately collectively as we work with other women in the circle. So this is a magnificent, magical, exciting event. I went live on my Facebook, so make sure you go there and check it out. My Facebook, my personal profile, if you can't add me as a friend because I'm getting close to 5,000 there, then definitely follow me. I also shared it to my like page on Facebook, which is Michelle Torrance /The Rising Goddess, Michelle Torrance /The Rising Goddess on Facebook. And then, of course, come join the Rising Goddess group. But here is where I'm really excited. Of course, this is an exciting magical circle. There's 25 women available, 10 VIP spots. This includes full moon ritual. That's when we kick it off, is on the full moon in Scorpio on the 18th. And then we start our first master circle that Tuesday afterwards. And there's workbook, there's meditations, there's tarot guidance, there's for VIP, there's guest speakers talking and connecting and sharing their wisdom on how you can incorporate and utilize these tools and practices that we use in this master circle and online retreat towards the other areas of your life. So this is a really magical moment. And I'm really super excited for this. And here is where I had a tower moment this weekend, right after the launch of this amazing, beautiful circle that is happening, right? I realized, Sean and I were connecting and we were sharing, and we are in solution-oriented mode on a constant basis. We are open to all solutions, creative ideas, opportunities, everything that comes into our path that supports the highest vibration of our being as well as the collective. And so we were talking about how I can, as a business, be able to connect and reach the people that need to be heard. And I did a reading and I asked, what have I been resisting? And let me share with you what I've been resisting is what is the ultimate purpose and the conviction of what it is I'm here to do. Now, I am here to help women heal the witch wound. I'm here to help women align with their bodies, listen to the language, learn the language, understand, reconnect, heal their relationship with their bodies, with their womb, with their menstrual cycle. This is a major aspect, but here is where I realized that I was still not living and fulfilling my purpose in this existence. I want to help women heal and help women rise, but it wasn't so much women as it is the feminine. And redefining the feminine in all humans. I have a lot of men who have reached out to me. A lot of men who either are bisexual, who are gay, who are effeminate men, who really lean into more of their feminine aspect within themselves. And they find themselves going through shame cycles in their lives. And this shame cycle is really all about the vibrational energy that is happening. It's been indoctrinated and programmed, whether it's through religious conditioning, whether it's through the toxicity of the patriarchal society. All of these aspects where men are afraid to actually hold even platonic connection and platonic love and any sort of intimacy with another man brings up fears and shame and anger and confusion. And it's really not so much about the sexuality aspect of it. While the sexuality aspect is a big part, it's really the aspect of being able to lean in and tap into the feminine aspect of your being, whatever that expresses as, and feeling free to be able to express that feminine aspect of yourself, whether that's in communication, whether communication with your relationships, whether that's an expression in creating things, whether it's in just the expression of who you are as a being. I was just watching, I don't watch TV, but what was I watching? I think it was a video. It was like one of those nights, when you're like laying in bed and you're like Facebook videos. And then I had watched one too many like Hope for Paws and like videos and like rescuing animals, and I'm like crying with all the animals. Like I want to like save them all and like help them all. But again, I digress. But anyways, I was scrolling through and I saw this video, and I've seen this show before. I don't even know the name of the show. I don't know. It's this show it's on E network. I'm I think that's what it's on. And it's this family and the dad, it's this blonde dude who's a dad. And I don't know this show. So the whole reason why I'm bringing it up is because this is such a main aspect of what I'm talking about here and why the Rising Goddess movement is expanding into this next level. But he's the father, and I've seen this show like once or twice. Like I think it was like a couple years ago, and maybe a year ago. But he's very in tune with both aspects of his energy, whether masculine or feminine. Some days he's definitely more feminine. Other days he's more masculine. He's married. He's got daughters. He's back and forth. And what I saw was just that this man was just being himself, right? But when I was going through the Facebook videos and it was like, I was scrolling, it was like he had to, I guess he was just called out and he had to like explain his sexuality because of his behaviors and what he does. Like, A, who the fuck are you to tell somebody to explain their sexuality? B, why is it that when a man taps into his feminine side, no matter what it is, whether he decides he wants to dress up for a night or whether he wants to do a full moon ritual or whether he wants to just do some shadow work, whatever the fuck he wants to do, why do we have to instantly come at this man and require him to defend or to defend or explain his behaviors and why he does that and explain what his sexuality is. Now, I know that this happens a lot. Like, well, I don't know. Let me just tell you this. I'm new, right? I'm not newly verbalizing, accepting, integrated aspect of being a bisexual woman, right? And so this has been happening for years. So it's not like there's anything that I'm coming in and like, this is all new. I understand that. But here is where I know that I can make a difference. I have always had a connection with men in one way, shape, or form, working through aspects of trusting men. I've had terrible we don't want to call them relationships. I mean, everything is a relationship. But they were very short, very toxic, very chaotic before I met Sean. And even in the beginning with Sean and I, we were both in this codependent, chaotic lifestyle within our own vibrational aspect and perspective. And so, of course, we brought that to the tables. But what the difference was with us is that we had this connection. I mean, we are twin flames. And so there was this magnetism that continued to keep pulling us towards each other and ultimately ended up having us encourage and help each other awaken. But I've had this connection. My best friends have always either been gay. I've had lots of bisexual men in my life. I've had, it's just always been this natural understanding, connecting with experience for me. And here is where my confusion has been for a while. I don't want to say confusion. Let me take that back. Here's where I've been in my own growth spurt and journey, my own growth and journey into my awareness of my purpose and healing and how I am to help you out there listening awaken to the empowered, magical, aligned, spiritual, energetic, creative self. And be able to understand how to have that relationship with your body and be able to communicate and connect with other people. And where I have been working on in my own healing is healing my relationship with women and learning how to trust women again. You know, I did an episode, my last solo cast, where, you know, I was still afraid of women and acknowledging that aspect, accepting that that's where I was, connecting with the pieces of myself that I had cast away, which were parts of my healing and connecting with women. And so in my growth, where I was in my healing, it required me to be able to go through that experience, that awareness, that healing aspect, and really connect with women in a way to help them connect with other women and healing that witch wound and being able to trust them. And I continue to realize that I'm still working through that. I realize that this is, it's not going to be a one and done, right? This is the work that's been happening for years. It's been happening long before me, that has been happening really in underground. It's a lot more prevalent now because we are in the time and the age for it to be prevalent. And this is why it's so important that the Rising Goddess movement is expanding into this next level. But, to be able to heal the witch wound, we need to heal the feminine. The feminine is not just in women, right? And we need to heal the feminine in all humans. The feminine is what has been pushed down. The feminine is what has been beat down. The feminine is what has been held in the submissive and weak and all these other terrible words that we could think of that has been happening to the feminine. Now, the feminine is also, of course, tied to women. But again, we need to also remember that we all have the yin yang, the balance, as within, so without, as above, so below. We are the world of polarity. So we all have masculine and feminine within us. So not only has the feminine been beat down and called weak and submissive and all these terrible things is not only happening to women, but it is within the men. Now, last year we were really in the rise of the feminine. This is a lot of sacral work that we did last year. And this year we're really going into the masculine, into our solar plexus area of work. This is still all within the lower triad. As humans, we have so much coming at us in our aspect where we have so much overstimulation in our higher chakras that we're not grounded. And this is why this work that I do, with what we do with sexual magic, orgasmic manifesting, sexual healing, all of these things, conscious conversations, relationship connections, is because it helps ground the lower three chakras within our system. Our lower triad is what makes us human. And for us to have an amazing human experience, we need to remember that we are human, and we need to tap into those human aspects within ourselves. Now, this masculine energy that is rising right now, this is the healing, the healthy. You're starting to see it, right? Where there's men who are slowly coming out and speaking up with women. Now, there have always been men that have done that. But here is the thing. A lot of these men have the feminine within them that is beat down. So there is shame. There is this weakness. There is this fear of being able to follow whatever feels good within themselves. If they feel like flowing, then that is a conflict within them because it goes against the masculine. Now, here's something. I'm going to pull something up here. It goes against the masculine process that men have, right? Because masculine is the structure, it's the decision making. The feminine is the flow, more of the wispy. That's why if you're too in your feminine, it's hard to make decisions. That's why it's important then if you're too in your feminine, you can't make decisions. It's important to add some yellow aspects into your life and do some solar plexus work and then ground both of those within your root. But here's where we had this breakthrough this weekend. I have been focused on healing the feminine within women, and that is uber important. That is where it's so imperative to have that feminine healed within women, because it has been so beaten down and pushed down and controlled over and all of these, again, terrible things that have happened to the feminine and with women. But by only focusing, and this is where I'm finding, by only focusing my work just with women, I'm not holding the actual or doing the work that I'm here to do. Because I had a conversation when Sean and I were talking. He asked me, he's like, well, where is your conviction, in helping women or in helping the feminine? And I was kind of conflicted in that moment, because it's both to me, but ultimately my purpose here is healing the feminine. And ultimately, not even healing the feminine. My purpose here is helping create different templates to help you redefine what feminine means for you and rise into your empowered sexual magic, whether you are a man or a woman. because it's that feminine within men who is crying to come out as well. And here is where it's so important, because it keeps us still in separation. It's still focusing on the woman versus the man aspect. By only focusing on healing the feminine within women, it's imbalancing. It's imbalancing out the actual aspects, the actual healing that needs to take place in this world of polarities, right? And when we this is where I was having this conversation with a witch sister last night, and she said such an amazing thing, and I posted about it earlier. But it's the separation that keeps the feminine in victim mode. So not only, right, by focusing on just the feminine healing within women, not only is that creating and keeping the imbalance happening, right, but it's still having that separation, which is then keeping the feminine within both men and women in victim mode. And when the feminine is in victim mode, that means that we have to be looking at something as the culprit, right? And that means a blame game. And that first blame game from the feminine is masculine. And so that's when we blame the masculine. That's the as above, so right. That's the polarities, right? And so then the masculine is thrown into that role. And then it's harder for men to be able to leave the toxic masculinity behaviors and indoctrination and conditioning that have been happening to them, because they're part of that blame game, and it's conflicting within themselves. They're blaming themselves based within their own thing because they're afraid to tap into the feminine. So here's where the magic happens. The Rising Goddess movement is expanding, and I am launching today the Rise. It's a 5-week online retreat and master circle to redefine the feminine within. This is for both men and women. This is where this is a space and an online retreat, a master circle, where we can combine. We are no longer accepting and no longer are available for the separation of healing, but the unity and the collaboration of healing, and the connection of healing, and the rising together. And this is what this is about. There will be spaces where you can connect with men only if you want to have that particular support. And then there's also be a space for women to connect and have that specific support. But there will be the space where it's all of us. And it's important to have both places, because it's a relative thing. This is a new thing, and being able as men to have a space with other men where you can be intimate about your own healing and rising, whether that's your own sexuality, whether that is any sort of sensuality aspects within yourself, whether that is you trying to understand your own feminine aspects so that way you can help and learn and connect with your partner in a deeper way as well. All of these aspects are here, and it's important to have that space. And so this is where the Rising Goddess group for men is a free space for men to connect and join in and learn all of these things. And of course, I've got the Rising Goddess group, which is my group for women. And I have the Rising Goddess group for rising humans. So there's 3 aspects of it, but this online retreat and master circle, this is where it's happening. This is where I'm shifting. So the Rising Goddess movement is no longer just only focusing on women. I have officially decided, no, not decided. I have officially accepted, heard my call, and stopped resisting the truth of my purpose and why I'm here. And that is to help redefine the feminine within, and however you decide to express that within yourself. But it's finding the confidence within that. It's aligning, it's transmuting the shame, it's doing the shadow work. And this is going to be a 5-week online amazing transformation and quantum healing in leaps for both men and women. This is going to be the ability to be able to heal the feminine within and maintain the balance with both men and women within that. Men are crying out for support. Men are crying out and craving the connection and being able to have that truth and be able to live that truth and be able to feel however they want to feel and express express however they want to express, just like women. And it's not that's the feeling and the expression is not a gender thing. It is the feminine thing. It is the energetic thing. It doesn't matter what gender you are. And so again, this is where we are now expanding. We have risen up into a new level of this Rising Goddess movement, and we are now redefining for what feminine is within you. That is what it is. These are words, masculine and feminine, right? We put definition, we put the description, we put the meaning behind the words. And so we're utilizing these words. So what does being feminine mean to you? What does tapping in? What does allowing your feminine energy side to happen and flow through mean for you? How can you utilize that to heal and do the shadow work? And this is what we'll do. The first week that we're going to tap into this, we're going to acknowledge, we're going to accept, and we're going to start to connect with these aspects of ourselves that we have cast over into the shadows. These are the shames. These are aspects of ourselves, whether it's in our feminine aspect, whether it's in our masculine aspect, all of these things. We're going to tap into those, and we're going to acknowledge that these have been pieces that we have energetic vibrational aspects of ourselves that we have fragmented off and thrown into the shadows. These are the shadow selves, right? And so this is the first week we're going to dive into. We're going to allow ourselves to get vulnerable as both men and women. As the feminine aspect, we are going to hold the container together in the balance, and we are going to allow the feminine energy to flow through, to start to feel and move and flow and heal within both, within all. And then the next week, we're going to start to do in the transmutation. This is where we start to actually do the integration process of these pieces of ourselves. This has the meditation. There's a shadow integration meditation that is part of this aspect. And this is where you're going to be able to tap into the feminine aspect of the shadow work of yourself as both a man and a woman. This is where you're going to be able to start to heal and align these places and integrate these aspects, these vibrational pieces of yourself that as we go out, we as humans, as we grow up and we have all of this conditioning and programming and indoctrination of all this bullshit, right? We start to seek all of these external places of the things that we think are missing to make us whole, when ultimately we are the ones that fragmented these pieces of ourselves initially once we had those conditionings to get rid of it and attach them to shame, and then we didn't want to deal with them, and then we bypass, right? So now this week 2 is integrating the pieces that you have been searching externally for because they are already within you, and so now we are going to start to bring them into your vibrational core. And then the third week, we are going to really learn and dive into our bodies, how we can utilize the feminine energy, healing that, and have a relationship with our body, both a man and a woman. There's so much penis shame that's going around in the world with the toxicity. And it's not just men. It's not just men, other men who are perpetuating this. There is the chaotic feminine that is perpetuating this. And it's not an this toxicity is being expressed. These toxicity behaviors, this toxicity availability, this energy is expressed through both men and women, and it comes out. It's not necessarily just the man, and this is where that separation comes in, right? So we have this shame around our bodies, whether as women, whether our breasts are too small, too big, whether our ass is too big, whether we have cellulite or our tummies or all of these things, stretch marks. With men, they have the same things, whether their bellies are big or whether they don't have enough muscles or if their penis is too small or if it's not thick enough or whatever thoughts and fears and expectations that they have upon themselves, right? So week 3 is really where we tie in and we start to have and hold this vulnerable space to get rid of all of the shame and the fear and the disconnection that we have with our body. Our body is our most magical and important manifestation. You hear me say this a lot. It's our most magical and important manifestation that we have in this world that we are creating. And so if we are having this disgust relationship, if we are hating on our body, if we aren't listening to our body, then we are completely disconnected with the ultimate manifestation we are here to have. Life, living. So this week 3 is really where we start to dive in and allow ourselves to learn the language of our body and be able to connect with it in a sensual and intimate way anytime, and be able to connect with other people, whether of the same sex or the different sex, and have an intimate connection without an expectation of any sort. Intimacy doesn't always necessarily mean sex. Intimacy just means intimate, quiet, closeness, together, connected. And this can happen men with men, women with women without sex being involved. It can happen with sex being involved. But being able to feel confident and trusting and understanding and loving yourself through having this connection with other men or other women or whomever without hearing those voices and the toxicity of telling you all of these terrible things that are going to happen and that who you are and that you're weak and all of these things. And then week 4, we tie into the magical, mystical aspect of ourselves, right? We are all witches and wizards and shamans and mystics and all of these things. We have all of these labels tied to us. It's learning how to allow ourselves to connect into that healthy feminine aspect of it. This is where we draw up our healthy feminine energy of ritual. This is where we draw up our healthy feminine energy of learning how to do the journaling and how to do the self-care in a way that feels good for you, no matter how it's expressed. Learning how the flow works for yourself. That is the magic. And then week 5, we really tap into sexual manifestation. We do sexual healing throughout the entire master circle and retreat. There's a lot of masturbation healing techniques and practices that are assigned. There's a lot of self-care and journaling, and all of these things are happening throughout of it. But this last week 5 is really focused on the actual manifestation part of it, utilizing sexual energy and orgasmic manifesting and playing around with that, as well as learning how to have conscious conversations with other people, with your partners, learning how to talk about any sort of sexual struggles that you may have, learning how to talk about any sort of disconnections that are going on, or when you're having a fear about a certain situation, or when you're going into it, or when you're not feeling it, or wherever you're being able, any sort of area of your life that you are feeling shame to have conversation about, you're going to learn how to be able to have that conversation and hold the space for your partner to have that conversation with you. So this is the shift. This is where the Rising Goddess movement is going. It is no longer just specifically for women. I am doing a disservice to the purpose of the collective and to the rising and the magic that I am here to do and that I'm here to provide for you. I am doing a disservice to you by cutting it off and keeping that separation happening, by perpetuating the victim mode of the feminine instead of encouraging the empowerment and the rise of the feminine within all. So moving forward, the launch, this master circle, this is going to be available for 25 people, women or men. And this is going to be women and men. This is going to be a magical online retreat where we are going to do some quantum rising. We are going to do some quantum healing. We are going to be doing some quantum leaps. Did y'all ever watch that show? It was a fun show. My science nerd self. Science! That's the Bill Nye Science GIF. That's my favorite right now. But we're going to be doing all of this. This is what's happening. So I welcome all of you out there who have been afraid to tap into your feminine energy for fear of shame that's coming out, fear of what you may find, fear of not knowing how to express it, fear of not understanding it. I call you to come and be a part of this circle. Whether you are a man or a woman, the feminine is what is needing healing. The feminine is within both of us and all of us. The feminine is part of the collective. That is the balance within. And so this is where we are healing. This is where we are redefine and rise. Redefine and rise. This is a 5-week online retreat for you to redefine and rise within your feminine, no matter who you are, and express it in the true creative fashion and the true creative love and the true creative expression, magical creation that you want to create in all of those lovely, juicy, deliciously magical words. So Doors are open. Registration closes on the 15th. 25 people only. There are 10 VIP spots. This is going to be an exciting time. This is something that will change your life. This is what has changed mine. I'm sharing these techniques. I'm sharing these practices. I'm doing this. I'm holding this space for you, not only for you, but this is for us. This is for us. We want to dismantle the patriarchy, right? We want to do it. You hear me talk about it all the time. Then we need to dismantle it within ourselves. And we can't dismantle it within ourselves if I'm only focusing on helping one aspect and not helping what is also calling and craving and yearning to be helped. And that is ultimately my conviction in helping the feminine be redefined and rise within yourself, and how you choose to express that in this world. This is our time of awakening. This is the Rising Goddess movement. Registration closes on the 15th. We begin with a full moon circle on the 18th. This is the time. This is what you have been looking for. She calls for you. She calls for you. She has been calling for you, and you are safe, and we can do this. And this is how we change the world, one person at a time. So come join the Rising Goddess group on Facebook. Also, come join the Rising Goddess group for men on Facebook, as well as the Rising Goddess group for Rising Humans. Come follow me on Instagram at the Rising Goddess _. That is at the Rising Goddess _. And then, of course, my Facebook like page, which is Michelle Torrance _ the Rising Goddess. And definitely make sure that you download, rate, and review. We are fully expanding. This is it. This is what the collective has been asking for. This is what feminine has been seeking. This is what it is. And it's time. And you're safe. And I'm so fucking excited. So I'll catch you all in the next episode. Later.